again. Okay, so officially welcome everyone to the Lighting the Way in a Post-Roe Louisiana series that we've been doing. We've had the other webinars, in the past, and they're available if you want to see the others. But for this one, we're talking about keeping Louisiana pro-life. My name is Alex Akers. I'm a director of education for Louisiana Right to Life, and we have a number of people here, Ben, Dustin, and Kyla, who are going to share just some really powerful testimonies and talk about specifically what we're doing to keep Louisiana pro-life. So please join us here right on this webinar and on Facebook. Please share this right now with your friends, anybody who's watching, so that we can spread this message to more people, because we are really being called right now as pro-lifers to hold the line, right? Really being called to hold the line. The past several months have been inundating the country with so many lies and so many misconceptions. And right now is a very vulnerable time for all of our pro-life laws, right? We've been, as pro-lifers especially, I'm sure everyone has been so exhausted with the amount of time that you've heard over and over and over again that pro-life laws threaten women's health care, that we're not there for women, that we abandon women after birth. But of course, we know the absolute truth that abortion is violent. It is a violent procedure, that women suffer from abortion, that it's a sorry excuse for healthcare, that women don't need abortion because the pro-life movement is here to help women in their moment of crisis and beyond, before birth, before giving birth, and after the birth of their baby. And the people here have a lot of testament to that as well. So let's jump in and talk about keeping Louisiana pro-life. I'm going to hand it over to Benjamin Clapper, our executive director for Louisiana Right to Life. He's going to talk to you about, give you a special announcement and talk to you about the special efforts that we're launching into as we enter legislative session in a few months. All right, Ben, take it from here.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks so much. Well, I'm so glad to be with everybody today. Hope everyone had a great day, great Thursday, getting ready for Friday and the weekend. I'm excited that you're all here, and Thursday, getting ready for Friday and the weekend. Everyone's here, and we're talking about keeping Louisiana pro-life, continuing to protect babies in Louisiana, and helping moms in Louisiana. It's so important in a post-Roe Louisiana, as our laws are protecting children, that we're doing everything we can to make sure that we are helping moms in need, both before and after birth. What we've been doing as Louisiana Right to Life, what you've been doing in communities across Louisiana through our pregnancy centers, through adoption agencies in the state, so many of the great ministries and charitable efforts that are there helping moms. And we just want to first and foremost continue to encourage and push that forward. And then tonight, let this be a moment to really think about how it is that we can continue to help moms. If you don't know, our findhelpla.com website is there, and that has an abundance of resources, both public and private resources for moms in need. So just want to make sure everybody is amplifying that message in the community that we're pro-life, but we're also pro-woman, and we want to be here to help those in need. It's been, as Alex said, it's been a wild ride since Roe v. Wade was overturned. We know that the misconceptions and everything that's been out there, we know that our laws are in place, that all the abortion facilities in Louisiana are closed, they're shut down, and babies, we believe and we know, are being saved from abortion in Louisiana, and that's awesome. Now, of course, there's still a lot of challenges and problems, right? There's still the availability of abortion pills to be ordered online. That's part of why we need to be there and reaching women in our state, is to help them, to share them the help and support that we can offer, so that they don't feel like they have to order the abortion pills. But also part of our upcoming challenges is that we know it only takes one legislative session for the laws in Louisiana to be changed. I think this is important for us to realize this. We have our constitutional amendment that we passed a few years ago, and that protects our state courts from just abruptly changing our laws and declaring a right to abortion. But that doesn't mean that our laws are foolproof forever. That means that every time the legislature meets in Baton Rouge, they can change our state laws. They can pass laws that would open the abortion facilities back up. They could legalize all abortions this coming legislative session, or they could legalize just some abortions in this state legislative session. So everyone, this is the first legislative session. It starts on April 10th, it's just under 3 months from right now. And this is the time for the pro-life movement to be loud and clear that we have to keep Louisiana pro-life. There's going to be efforts to change our state laws. We know they're coming, but the pro-life movement, we have to be united right now to make sure that we want our laws to remain pro-life and even to build on what we have today. How often do you think people who are happy or unhappy with our laws contact their state legislators? It's probably those who are unhappy with our state laws contact our legislators. And that's what's been happening since the overturn of Roe v. Wade, is that pro-life people who are happy about our laws are probably not calling their state legislators, but those who have been unhappy about them, who maybe are people who are in support of abortion, they may be calling your state legislators. And so, but now it's the time for us to say, let's make that message loud and clear that Louisiana, we got to remain pro-life. We have to keep protecting children. We have to keep helping moms, and we have to keep our state laws pro-life and even make them more pro-life. So what we've thought about it is okay, how can we get to legislators and people across the state to reach them? We can do it through things like this, and this is great, this is awesome. But what we're doing and what kind of our special announcement tonight is that Louisiana Right to Life is going on tour over the next 3 months to keep Louisiana pro-life. In fact, we are getting an RV. We are wrapping it with a pro-life message that says keep Louisiana pro-life. And we're going to travel the entire state over the next 3 months. Members of our team from across the state, our volunteers, supporters, friends, we're going to go on this Keep Louisiana Pro-Life tour. And we're going to host events throughout Louisiana in order to re-engage the pro-life movement, re-excite and energize the pro-life movement, reach the grassroots of the pro-life movement, and then to educate, to encourage support for moms, and then to connect citizens with your state legislators, your state representatives, your state senators, so that when they go to the Capitol in April, they're going to know that they've already met with you and they've heard from you. So we're going on a tour. We're going to start this after Mardi Gras. So we're going to do, these are going to be events maybe in church parking lots where our RV is going to pull up. We're going to set up speakers, have some music, have some people sharing their testimony, state legislators speak, just some energy. We have a petition now called the Keep Louisiana Pro-Life Petition. Our website, keeplaprolife.com, is the website you can all go to. Please share as far as you can. We need more people to see that petition out there. We need to sign that because we're going to be delivering that to state legislators across the state, encouraging them. So our Keep Louisiana Pro-Life tour is getting started after Mardi Gras. We need you all to be a part of it. You can reach out to us at our office if you'd like to host a tour stop in your community. You only take an hour. We have most of it put together, but we'd love for you to be a part of it. We're going to come to your neck of the woods, and we can't wait to continue to work with all of you to keep Louisiana pro-life, to strengthen our laws, to keep them pro-life, and make sure that we can protect every child and help every mom. So we're excited. We look forward to seeing you throughout Louisiana.
Thank you so much, Ben. Yes, everyone, please keeplaprolife.com. I'm going to type it in the chat here. And especially while I'm doing that, if you have questions, you can respond to the chat, or you can go into the Q&A section of the webinar, or you can comment on the Facebook Live page, and I'm trying to monitor and I'll get to your questions as best as I can. But I've typed in to the chat, keeplaprolife.com. I'm going to type in on the live, keeplaprolife.com. Please take.
And Alex,
yeah, go ahead.
Just jump in with you. You know, I know we have where people can sign that petition right at keeplaprolife.com. But I believe at least now, or maybe in the next couple of days, we're going to have a downloadable petition where people can print that out, bring it to their church, get their friends, church members, community members to sign it. That's what we're thinking, that we're going to have that available.
Yes, absolutely. That's going to be available as soon as possible, and keep on the lookout for our e-newsletters. And if you're not already signed up on our e-newsletters with Louisiana Right to Life, please go sign up for that so you can keep abreast of that and see any updates to the website, any updates with the petition. And we'll be sending out, make sure that you know that we have a hard copy of that to spread around in your churches. And we can always send that to you too. If you were like, I can't print it, we will mail it to you and you can have it at your church. We are determined to get as many pro-life people in Louisiana to sign this as possible. Everyone needs their voice heard. So yes, keeplaprolife.com. And I want to move over to, so that's the big message, that we got to keep Louisiana pro-life, and we have to be fighting against any and every bill that will be threatening or changing our pro-life laws in some way that will kill babies, right? So there's people who want to legislate to have abortions legal through all 9 months, but there's some people who want to legislate just at least certain exceptions to get abortion further into the door. And there's a person that's coming after me that has an incredible testimony about this. This is such a sensitive situation. So I do have a trigger warning for those who are watching. We are going to be talking about sexual assault, and this is a person who has an intimate experience with this, and he's going to be sharing his story. But please, no matter what side you are on, whether you are for exceptions for abortion or against, or you're in the middle and you just don't know and you're influenced by different stories, please take Dustin's story to heart. Really consider it, and really consider why you are pro-life and how to follow that consistently, or why you may believe in this exception, and consider a change in that perspective. So Dustin, he is an incredible human being. He has, given talks all over Louisiana for the past several years. He has his own ministry that he does to influence people to better their lives and grow in their faith. And he shares his testimony incredibly beautifully of his brave mother's decision. So Dustin, please take the floor and share your story and your perspective.
No, again, thank you, Alex and Ben, for giving me another opportunity to kind of share what I love doing. But yeah, like Alex said, I'm Dustin Bertrand. I'm from Abbeville, Louisiana, and I guess to say my life started like any other Southern boy. But I was raised by my mom, my grandmother, and my mom's extended family. And I love to do like most Southern boys, play football, hunt, fish, ride my bike in the neighborhoods, and life was happening. And then when I got about 6 to 7 years old, my mom met, which became my stepfather, who blessed us with a younger brother. And my life started to change a little bit. And kind of something inside me was like, well, where was my dad before this dad? But it kind of got pushed under the rug. Like, life happened. Life was going on. Their marriage was going on. And I got into high school, and I faced some things in high school that kind of seemed unfair. And it kind of was based around like my identity and who I was as a man. I started realizing that people saw me a little different than they saw my mom and my extended family. But I didn't have anything to kind of combat that, or I don't know, defend myself with. Well, it got to the point where in college, I had some health issues. So I was born with 3 holes in my heart and a kidney disease. And 2 of the holes, we want to call it, I believe, God healed them, or they miraculously just closed. And I had 1 hole under my aortic valve that stayed with me most of my life. And it started to get worse in college. They thought maybe it could have been depression from not being, home a lot, away from my family and friends, because I had moved away from college. I went to McNeese State University. So we did all the tests, and we came to understand that the hole under my aortic valve started leaking more. And so we had to obviously address it then or address it later in life. And I was I guess a big athlete my whole life, loved to work out, loved to push myself in the fitness world. And I was like, I will heal better if I have the surgery now than if I wait till I'm older in life. And so I was like, look, let's just take care of it now. No big deal. I'll be back in, maybe half a year, being able to play golf and do all the stuff I love doing. Well, when you become, of age, 18 or older, you have to fill out the paperwork yourself. And some portions of it, I guess you can say. And one of them was like, you have like a 1 to 5%. I never could remember the percentage. I just remember me having to sign my name beyond like a line that said, hey, you might not survive this surgery. Are you still willing to consent to doing this? I don't know if it was a spiritual thing or a life thing or a teenage crisis. I don't know what you want to call it. But the second that I knew I could possibly not make this surgery, I had this zeal, this desire to know where I came from. Where was dad before this dad? Why wasn't my dad never around? What's the story? I'm old enough now to know that I didn't come from the sky. I know how babies are made now. Like you can't give me those little remarks if I don't remember, or don't worry about it. And so like I told Alex and Ben and many others before, it's a conversation I'll never forget. And I always like to explain, I know exactly where I was and where I was sitting. 306 Natasha, Abbeville, Louisiana, on a green picnic table, under some gravel rocks by a gray Lincoln owned by my grandmother, in front of her house, behind our pool house. And it was a beautiful, like, sunny day in August. And so she proceeds to tell me the story, but she immediately just starts crying. She's like, I don't know. I know that sounds weird maybe to you, but I don't know. And once she started crying, I was like, oh, this is gonna not be what I'm expecting. And to keep it short, so we kind of keep everyone in time, at the forefront of my story. She kind of just goes on to say, like, her and her girlfriends went out one night. She was working at the mall, so her and her girlfriends went out. And they remember getting to this place, and she was like, look, Dustin, I would tell you if I was drunk or, had way too many, but like, I was of age, I was 25, I knew what I was doing. But all I remember is stepping into this place we were at. And the next thing I remember was waking up in this apartment building, this hotel, and didn't know how I got there. None of my friends were around. No one was around me, but I knew something terrible had happened to me, but I couldn't put I couldn't put a face to it or what that was. And so she said, I got myself together, because she was just a strong-willed person. Like many Southern women, right? We were raised to be tough, cook, clean, and work. And so she did like most men and women would do. She just picked up herself. She kind of told like this white lie to her friends and her mom. She met like this maid that was there in this area, and this maid got her to like this phone, and she called her friends. So she kind of like made up this white lie for a friend to come pick her up. And she just started living life. And about a month later, she thought she was sick. But as you know, and where the story is heading, she was pregnant. And 9 months later, I came out. It was a hard decision for her. She did think about abortion at one time because the shame and the guilt of maybe letting her mom down and the family and the community. But because I think she subconsciously knew the dignity and the value that I had based off her upbringing and her background, she decided to say yes. And so I'm just here to kind of share with you, or to give you a tangible reality, a life that, there's fruits, and there's a better decision than abortion. There's triumph, there's success, there's love beyond ending that child's life. That the pro-life side, protecting the mother and the child is possible, is doable, and there's enough resources. And I've luckily been able to be the first person in my grandmother's lineage to go to college, to get an undergrad degree, and to go off to be a college athlete, and I actually like paved the way, and I earned a master's. And I have a little brother. I'm like, listen, if I can do this, that's the bare minimum you can do. And he's actually going off. He's going to be a doctor, within like 5 or 6 years. And so, and I also tell people, there's myths out there that would say that my mom should have killed me in her womb because I would suffer. We're all going to suffer, guys, out there. I think some of y'all have suffered, or guess what? You're going into some suffering. We all suffering, just looks a little different, right? And some people would say that she should have aborted me because every time she sees me, it may trigger the face of the individual that may have taken advantage of her, or bring memories back of that night. Well, from her words, I can say this now. From her words, she says, doesn't matter if you were here or not, Dustin, I would never forget that night, And then to kind of double down on that, some people would say that me and my mom wouldn't have a good relationship, right? She would have a hard time, She would have a hard time loving me. This is the part that always chokes me up, because it's so not true. She put me in the private school, in high school. She got me to college, and to this day, me and her are caregivers to my grandmother together. So no. I wish I could show y'all pictures, but this is not the platform for that. But that's not the case either. She's one of my best friends, and she knows my deepest fears and my greatest dreams. So,
Dustin, thank you so much. It's always incredible when you tell your story. It's so vulnerable of you to do that. But it's so important that you do, and that. And so thank you so much once again. Dustin's story is actually going to be soon all out there on social media. It's out there right now on keeplaprolife.com. It's the video at the top that you see, so that you can see this, like you said, a tangible reality, a tangible story as to why we really need to fight for these babies. And then very soon, probably by tomorrow, we're going to be launching that same video in 15-second, 30-second, and minute versions all over Facebook and Instagram. So keep on the lookout for that. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram and share his story, share the light of that truth that these babies are absolutely just as valuable as any others and are worth our protection, especially even more in this vulnerable issue, right? So please be on the lookout for that, and we'll send it to everyone who's joined, and we'll put that in the comments as well. So thank you, Dustin, for sharing that.
You got it.
Another subject, in this whole fight for vulnerable babies, while babies who are, products, if, people like to call it, from rape and incest or a result of that, they are protected right now in Louisiana law, but that protection is being threatened. But babies that are currently not protected by Louisiana law are those that are deemed with having a medically futile diagnosis. So this exception was passed in Louisiana legislature over our opposition, right? Because we think that every single baby deserves the right to life, no matter what. So there's 25 exceptions right now in Louisiana law. 25 diagnoses in Louisiana law that is an exception, and that these babies, the doctors who diagnose this can recommend them for abortion. Right. So nothing can deny that receiving a diagnosis of your child of having a very short and suffering-filled life is completely heartbreaking, and it will fill, any family with grief. It will fill you with fear of the unknown, and it will be an overwhelming future. That reality is there, and we completely see that and understand that. I had just a glimpse of that in my own life, as I was told that my daughter would have, the doctor was 99% sure that she would have trisomy 13, 18. She named a couple other things, and I can't remember what they are because I was just crying my eyes out, right? Even as pro-life as I am, I'm going to still be filled with grief and fear of the unknown in that situation. But, despite that being said, no baby or anyone at any stage of life deserves to be killed because of their terminally ill diagnosis or a disability. That's the fundamental truth of our right to life stance. And the biggest story that has come out lately that maybe many of you have heard is from Nancy Davis. If you haven't heard, you could Google it. Nancy Davis is a woman in Louisiana, in Baton Rouge, whose baby was diagnosed with acrania. And through, a number of circumstances surrounding it, she was trying to fight to have an abortion, and there was uncertainty whether or not she could have one. It is legal for her to have the abortion, and now she definitely can, because that is listed now under that exception. And she is a foundation now and works with pro-abortion groups to further the cause of abortion happening in Louisiana. And I see Nancy Davis's situation, and it is completely filled with grief. And her diagnosis of her baby, this wanted pregnancy, her baby's skull was not going to be fully developed, and the baby's brain was going to be exposed to amniotic fluid and was going to stunt all development. And her baby had the highest chance of dying either before or right after birth. And she would constantly say this phrase, "I'm just carrying my baby to bury my baby." So our next speaker has a direct alternative answer to that and tells her story extremely beautifully. It's Kyla Gonzalez. And Kyla, I actually missed exactly where you lived. I know it's in North Louisiana. I can't remember if you said Monroe. Yes, good. She lives in Monroe. Dustin lives in Abbeville. Kyla lives in Monroe. These are very localized stories. These are people that you can talk to if you're in the area who've gone through these things. She has 3 living children and 2 awaiting her in heaven. She's been a registered nurse for 15 years, and after enduring years of infertility, pregnancy, and infant loss, including the devastating death of her newborn daughter, she had found a passion for supporting families experiencing the same heartache that she has faced, right? The passion, and I'm reading from her beautiful bio on her resource website that she'll tell you so much about. This passion is what compelled her to start this nonprofit organization that she'll explain, and become a certified birth and bereavement doula. And she wants to expand this resource to all over the country. So there are resources in Louisiana for people who are going through the same thing. And so Kyla, I'll hand it over to you to tell your story, share your perspective, and share your resources.
Thank you so much, And thank you, Dustin, too, for sharing your story. It was very, very beautiful. And I loved what you said about everyone is going to suffer. Everyone is going to suffer. And so I have a story of suffering, and like we all do, but I will just kind of jump right into whenever I was 16 weeks pregnant with our second child. This was in November of 2018. I heard my doctor speak the words that every mother fears the most. Your baby has a condition that is incompatible with life. In that moment, my entire world went dark. It felt like the walls began to close in on us. I remember looking at my husband and just seeing a fear in his eyes that I'd never seen before. My husband is a physician, and so he is a fixer, and just seeing that look in his eyes, knowing this was something he could not fix, that terrified me. I couldn't breathe. I began to panic. I tried to listen as my doctor explained every defect and deformity that would steal our daughter from us. A few of them were an opening in her belly that exposed all of her internal organs. She had a gross malrotation of her spine, hypoplastic lungs, non-existent umbilical cord, and a severe neural tube defect. She was given the diagnosis of limb-body wall complex. We were told that most babies with this condition die in utero. The small percentage that do live to term and survive the birth, they die just minutes after they're born. So it's 100% fatal. We were given very little information because this condition is so rare. There's really not a lot known about it. And most people who do receive this diagnosis, they terminate. So very few carry babies with this condition. So, we left with little information, pretty much no resources, no hope. And we were given the choice between two options. So we either continue the pregnancy and wait for our daughter to die, or we terminate. And so I knew, I knew what we were to endure if we were to continue this pregnancy. I knew the pain and the heartache. I knew the fear, the anxiety, but intentionally causing our daughter to die just to spare myself pain, like that was never an option for me. Whenever I became a mother, God changed me. And so my life is no longer about me, and it's no longer about what I want or what's in my best interest. It's about my children. And so even in the midst of shock and just unspeakable grief, my husband and I immediately knew without a shadow of a doubt that the Lord had a plan for our daughter's life, and that it was our job to just trust him and to honor her as it unfolded. So we left that doctor's office that day just completely crushed. And we were desperate for answers, but I think most importantly, we left with just this newfound dedication to love this baby unapologetically and to just savor the time that we had with her. That was just our goal. And it was hard. It was so hard. Carrying a baby who's dying inside you is just an all-consuming, unique type of pain that I didn't know existed until it became my life. So I carried her through crippling anxiety. I developed panic attacks, fear, depression, mental and physical pain and exhaustion, sleepless nights, the tactless comments and the dreaded questions from strangers. I had a 3-year-old little boy at the time, so trying to parent him and explain to him what was going on, and also being a wife to my husband. through all the holidays and the birthday parties and the family vacations, the doctor's appointments, the ultrasounds, palliative care meetings, through birth planning and funeral planning all at the same time. I carried her and I grieved her, and I just loved her as if every moment were our last, because we didn't know. So I wish I could say that I had an unwavering faith throughout my pregnancy, but I did not. I'm human. I experienced all the feelings. I questioned God. I felt a lifetime's worth of self-pity, but I never once regretted my decision to carry her. Sorry. And as desperately as I wanted relief from the pain, I also never wanted it to end, because I knew it could only end in one way. It's just this paradox of like being in misery in this pregnancy, but like I don't want it to end, because that means she has to die. And so it was just, I would describe it as the most beautiful, agonizing love I've ever known. So on March 4th, 2019, our daughter was born. The moments leading up to her delivery were terrifying, but when the doctor placed her on my chest, the moment that my eyes met hers, every ounce of fear and doubt melted away. I was mesmerized by her. Just completely enchanted by her beauty, her innocence. She was pure and perfect, everything good in this world. And I just wanted to stay in that moment forever. But I knew that clock was ticking, and fortunately, she was born alive. Throughout my pregnancy, I imagined so many times what that moment would be like. And every time it was so ugly, it was terrifying, but I realized that I was viewing it the entire time through a distorted lens of fear. And when that fear fell aside, I saw the truth so clearly. And it made me wonder how many other times I'd let fear win and just steal the sweetness from my life. We spent the most unforgettable 36 minutes with our daughter before she passed from our arms into the arms of the Father. She knew nothing of the ugliness of this world, no fear, pain, or hunger. She spent every moment of her life in the warm embrace of her family, and her death was devastating, yes, but the time we spent with her was even more beautiful than you can imagine. Those 36 minutes of her life were worth every moment of misery I have ever or will ever endure. And I'm so thankful that I didn't let fear rob me of that. We named our daughter Eva Catherine, Eva meaning life or giver of life, and Catherine meaning pure. I can't think of a more fitting name for a perfect little life. Babies just like our Eva are aborted every year in this country. And as Alex was saying earlier, right here in Louisiana, we allow for abortion in cases of terminal prenatal diagnosis. So essentially 2 doctors can deem a baby incompatible with life, and that baby can be killed simply for being sick. These babies are loved and they're wanted. They're precious lives with purpose and meaning, and they're never given a chance. Most often, the parents don't want to abort their baby. They abort out of fear or desperation, lack of resources, poverty. But I think most often they abort because they believe society's most vicious lie, and it's that abortion is the better, easier, and less traumatic way. But we know that the value of a human life does not depend upon our circumstances, and we know that a human life cannot be ended for convenience. We must stand on this truth, and we must show the world that there's a better way. We can honor these babies, and we can, as the pro-life community, we can support these mothers as they choose life for their babies. Today, almost 4 years after Eva's birth and death, we have 2 more precious children. We have a daughter who joined our family through adoption, and then a 1-year-old son. Today, I'm a certified birth and bereavement doula, as Alex said, and I'm the founder of a nonprofit called I Will Carry You, which is very fitting because I chose to carry her. And so I literally help moms and dads choose life for their babies and choose to carry their babies, knowing that they're going to die, which is so hard. I consider it an honor and a privilege to be able to do that. And that is another gift of that I've received, for choosing life. I'm just so thankful every day that I made that choice. I can't imagine where I would be if I hadn't. So thank you so much for having me here today. It's really an honor and a privilege. Just really, really grateful.
Thank you so much, Carla. I mean, I was definitely tearing up as you were talking. I as a mother too, we all can't imagine like being told that we're going to lose our children. And thank you so much for taking your story and using it for so much good, and hopefully saving other like babies' lives in the process. A lot of resources for parents who are in this situation. We've, been compiling them. We've also been compiling other stories from throughout Louisiana. And then of course, compiling resources that are also found nationwide. There's a lot of nationwide support for a variety of the different diagnoses that is found on that medically futile list. You can find all of this at compatiblewithlove.com. She said that the doctor told her that her baby was incompatible with life. And whenever people are being told this, like all they're being told is like the fear and the negative, but your baby is still compatible with love. Like you have the chance to love this baby for the duration of their life. And so like Nancy Davis said, she said, I'm carrying my baby only to bury this baby. I wanted to say, like, it's true, Nancy, you are carrying this baby and this baby is alive right now. And either this baby, can die a violent death at the hands of abortionists, or can die in the loving arms of his or her parents. And naturally, and who knows, and somebody noted in the chat here on the webinar, doctors can be wrong. There are situations where doctors can be wrong, and we have, we just don't know. But of course, in many cases, like Nancy Davis's story with Ukrainia and in yours, there is a high chance, and we have to still give all the respect and dignity and surround parents with love and support. So again, that's compatiblewithlove.com. I really call everyone here to activism with that. Please share people's stories, share the testament to that. It is a life that is worth protecting, no matter how short or long. And share stories with me. I'm looking for more stories throughout Louisiana. I know that is also a hard thing and very vulnerable to share one of the darkest points in your life, but I hope that it can be used to bring light to other families. And you can share your story with me in many ways. You can write it out. You can just tell me it. You can become a part of a network of parents who are there to help answer other families' questions who are going, through this, or you can be willing to share your story publicly to help influence, like the public and our legislators. So please reach out to me. So just to wrap up a few things is, remember, keeplaprolife.com. Dustin's video is on there and will be shared on social media tomorrow. The petition is on there. We need to get as many pro-life people in Louisiana to sign it as possible, spread the word, and be checking in for updates with the tour and where we're going to be in Louisiana with our amazing big RV of Keeping Louisiana Pro-Life. Also at keeplaprolife.com, you can find 2 other websites that will be helpful to you. There's postrofacts.com, where we go through the entire, Louisiana pro-life law and show you what is myth and what is truth, depending on like what you've heard often and all over social media and in the media. It goes through like the treatments that women can receive that is not a risk to healthcare, right, for women in Louisiana, and that elective abortion is not necessary. Go through there, look through that. FindHelpLA.com is a website that can help any woman who is in a crisis pregnancy. They can go on that and zip code search a local crisis pregnancy in their area, as well as a number of resources above and beyond or look, just, if someone doesn't want to go to a crisis pregnancy center, but just needs shelter now, or needs food now, or needs help from a domestic violence situation right now, there are resources on findhelpla.com that are localized, or on the resources page. They can go to all those frequently asked questions and find a number of things. So we're trying to put as much out there as possible, because again, the pro-life movement is there for moms and babies in Louisiana. We just need to let people know what resources are there and get that into their hands, especially when women are into a crisis. So please look all that up. I'll comment on the live on Facebook with those different resources. But we're excited to work together to continue to share these stories and to keep Louisiana pro-life with you. Ben, I saw that you unmuted. Is there anything else that you wanted to close with?
Oh, no, just, I think it, just to comment first,
Yes.
Kyla and Dustin, y'all are heroes, and Dustin's mom is a hero as well. So y'all are awesome. Earlier I said it only takes one legislative session for our laws to change. It also only takes one generation for our pro-life culture to change. So what we also, the things that we're talking about tonight, these stories need to be shared and reach people who, previously under Roe v. Wade, it almost was, not an issue whether how people felt. Now it matters, because the public opinion of our state can change our laws. So let's go all out. Let's take this message and let's change hearts and minds. And just Kyla and Dustin, thank you for being on tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. This webinar will, be available on Facebook and on YouTube by tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Let's go.
Bye.